Franchise.
Get in like the Marines.
Franchise.
Yeah.
Franchise.
We're in.
Franchise. Franchise the damn thing.
And now, for a scene.
My mother always said there were no monsters. No real ones. But there are. Why do they tell little kids that?
Most of the time, it's true.
And scene.
Welcome to Franchise Addicts, a podcast covering every film in a given franchise. My name is Luke.
And I'm Chris.
And this week we are covering the second film in the Alien franchise, Aliens.
Aliens.
Aliens, 1986, director James Cameron, writer James Cameron, David Giler, Walter Hill, who also will be featured writers on Alien 3, which we will cover next. This film was nominated for 7 Oscars, 2 Best Visual and Sound Effects, 8.4 rating on IMDb, 69th best movie of all time.
69.
Woo! Rotten Tomatoes, 98% fresh, 94% audience score. This movie had a budget of $18.5 million. Opening weekend domestically made $84.1 million. Worldwide, 131. This movie was an absolute hit, just like Alien, and is from a budgetary standpoint, a worthy sequel.
Absolutely. The world loved xenomorphs. That is proven. Really quickly on the Oscar nominations, Luke, did you know that Sigourney Weaver was nominated 2 other times? Never won an Oscar, though. I wasn't sure about that. Nominated in 1989 for both supporting actress for Working Girl and for Best Actress for her environmental Gorillas in the Mist. Good to know. Love Sigourney.
Never won.
National treasure.
Never won. So this movie, obviously our sequel to Alien, a movie that we both love quite a bit.
We're fans.
Yes, high ratings on Alien. So Chris, is Aliens a worthy sequel?
I think it's good. It's different. It's a lot different. That's one of the fun things about many of the Alien movies is that we've got different directors, different takes. It's a fun action movie in my mind. It's not necessarily scary at all. I mean, there's a chest burster or two, but it takes the fun action. James Cameron previously had made Terminator 2 years earlier. He obviously went on to do Terminator 2, some other movies you may have heard of with blue people, but I think it's a fun movie with some good performances, and it's a fine cheeseburger. If Ridley Scott was making you a fillet, well then James Cameron, he's giving you something. There might be some empty calories on this, but goddamn, there's going to be some xenomorphs. There's going to be a lot of xenomorphs. And we're going to have Ripley kicking ass. And, for me, that's good. Now, Luke, just to remind the audience, this is the first movie in this podcast series that you had not seen. We both saw Alien going into this, but Luke, audience, had not seen Aliens. He's not seen any of the other Alien movies. So now is the time when I ask you, Luke, what was your opinion of Aliens?
So Alien, one of my favorite movies of all time. Ridley Scott, I think you could probably say hit and miss director, but has a lot of hits. I think he's obviously ridiculously talented. He created worlds, Blade Runner, Alien, and this movie being the sequel and also the second movie I've seen as a part of this franchise, so it is only the second Alien movie that I've seen. What do I think? I think it falls. Where Alien succeeded, I think this falls apart in a lot of areas that I like about Alien.
Wow.
I think this is a lesser film. I think the basically turning it into Terminator, a very successful action movie by James Cameron, makes this franchise, now again, these are only 2 movies that I've seen, turns this franchise in a negative direction for me.
Oh man, I got news for you, buddy. If you don't like Aliens, the next couple of weeks are gonna be rough. But no, that's totally fair. I think a lot of people love this movie. Our good friend Paul, obviously, he prefers Aliens. Some prefer Aliens to Alien. So, hey, we're all entitled to our opinion. I can see where you're coming from. I'll also say I rewatched all these. I hadn't seen Aliens probably for 20 years. Rewatch, there's plenty that I enjoy about it we'll talk about. But also, it's not totally amazing. A nice 80s action movie. But that being said, let's get into it.
Yep, so we're going to get into a scene-by-scene breakdown of the movie Aliens, which will allow for further discussion of why Chris thinks this is a successful movie, why I don't think it's as successful of a movie. We begin the same way that Aliens began, with our title card sequence, not the iconic white lines of Alien, but blue, blurry frequency lines that turn into not Alien, but Aliens.
The eye has a little bit of a vaginal opening thing going on, but
Geiger
lives.
Not involved in this movie, though.
He's not involved. Obviously, they still used the xenomorph. That's but otherwise, not involved. And I'll say it shows. So, all right, title cards. Take us further, Luke.
So we're in space. We see the transport vehicle that Ripley escaped from the Nostromo from.
The Narcissus.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good pull.
Thank you.
And her ship is now being taken in by a larger, probably corporate ship. I would guess corporate ship. Her shuttle is then scanned by robots, and life is detected. We see Ripley in her cryosleep chamber with Jonesy the cat. We are then taken into the space station. Ripley has been brought to the medical bay, where she wakes up after a couple of days. We get introduced to the character of Burke, Paul Reiser, who enters in with Jonesy. Ripley's very happy to see Jonesy. Burke then informs her that she has been in space wandering for 57 years. To her, mere moments after shooting the xenomorph out of her space shuttle. And
you could say she's been a little bit of a Ripley Van Winkle.
Sure, you can definitely say that.
Absolutely, that's what I would say.
We then get a scene where Ripley believes that a chest burster is coming out of her, that she has been impregnated in her cryosleep, and she is now awoken with this monstrosity inside of her. We cut later to her waking up from this dream. She is then brought into a boardroom where she is asked to then recount basically what happened on the Nostromo in front of a board of directors who are pretty disbelieving of what actually happened. They accuse her basically of just wasting millions of dollars by destroying the ship. She then finds out from the head of the board of directors that LV-426 has been terraformed and that humans and people have been living on it for the last 20 years.
Whoa! Crazy, but true. 60-ish families, right?
Yeah, 60-ish with kids, obviously, because we do see a kid later on the planet, so we can assume that other kids were brought by families.
Yeah, there was a daycare center.
Ripley watches in the scene after the boardroom as a cigarette smokes itself, basically. She's just sitting there, letting that thing just rip on its own. Burke and Lieutenant Gorman, who is the head of this Marine platoon, that will be important later, show up and tell Ripley, oh no, the colony on LV-426 has been non-communicative. We have not heard from them in a while. This is dangerous. We're sending the Marines down. We're going to check out the situation, see what happened on LV 426. Ripley, would you like to come with us on this mission since you got all the information about the xenomorph? She says, no way. I've already gone through this trauma before.
I can't.
I'm not going back. We then get Ripley waking up from a cold sweat. Oh no.
That dream again.
She FaceTime calls Burke.
Yeah.
She says, Paul Reiser, I'm coming in. I will join you on this mission on one condition.
What's that?
We will destroy the xenomorphs. These need to be eradicated. All they are is warmongering, destructions. You are not to take any of them back for more experimentation, more study. This is an eradication mission. That's my one thing. Burke is like, of course.
Of course.
Yes, absolutely.
Wouldn't have it any
Almost
other
didn't
way.
even have to be said, Ripley.
Come on.
And we are then taken to the next scene, which is Ripley and the rest of the Marines waking up, obviously, on this mission back to LV 426.
So before that, a quick commentary. There's a big backstory there's a number of scenes that are not included in the theatrical cut that do change things quite a bit. I didn't know about this until I just watched the special edition. So really quickly, in the special edition, Ripley asks about her daughter. She was going to apparently see her daughter for her 11th birthday when she was coming back in the first movie. There's no mention. Is there a mention of a daughter, Luke, in the first movie?
There is not.
There's no daughter. But we hear about the daughter, and she asks about the daughter. She asks Paul Reiser about the daughter.
Do you have any news about my daughter?
Well, we did come up with some information. Why don't we sit down? I was hoping to wait until after the inquest. Amanda Ripley McLaren, married name, I guess, age 66. And that was at the time of her death, which was 2 years ago. I'm real sorry.
And so, okay, that's going to give us some backstory about there might be a mother-daughter-like relationship. Of course, it's coming in the movie later with Newt and Ripley. You heard a scene from them earlier in the show. And then also there's another scene where they cut to the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, that if you don't know that by now, that's the corporation that we're going to see throughout the Alien movies. Sometimes they might be up to no good. We see them, they're having a talk in the factory. Someone says, there's a colonist and he came across something, he wants to know if he can keep it. They say, sure. They cut to the colonist in question. It's actually Newt. We haven't met Newt yet, but it's the little girl that's going to be the main character in the movie. It's her family. Spoiler alert, by the time we meet her, her family's passed away. They go to they come across the horseshoe ship that's in Alien, in the first Alien. So I guess we are to learn by that the colony that they made for 20 years was very far away from all the xenomorphs, and apparently xenomorphs don't love to travel. They like to stay close to their place. So there hadn't been an interaction. The dad, the Newt's dad, of course, she's with her mother and brother as well. They go and they go into the ship, and the guy comes out. Oh my gosh, he's got a face hugger on him. That always happens. They say, "We're coming back to the colony. We're coming back," and he's got the face hugger on him. So of course, then we can learn that's how this all happened, because in the regular theatrical cut, it's just like, hey, 57 years have passed. Whatever, that's cool. No real emotion or anything about that. And then also, hey, we're in the boardroom. Yeah, you really messed up. Oh, hey, funny thing, now we can't, we have lost contact with people in the LV-426, and we need you to get there right away. So they cut over some really, some interesting parts that I think in the special edition are made a lot better by these. Just two scenes.
And thus begins my criticism of the movie. James Cameron, in the theatrical version, he does correct this in the director's cut special edition. He is a teller, not a shower. He just uses dialogue in this to get us to the main crux of what we want to do. We want to go back to the planet. We want to see the xenomorphs again.
Yeah.
So let's just get there. Let's not worry about any of the background. Let's not worry about setting up any of these characters currently. Which is odd because he changes it. He makes it better.
It exists.
He shot the scenes, but for the theatrical version, like he said, let's just give those dumb people their cheeseburger.
Yeah.
And let's just let them take that first bite right away and let's get to the action.
And the audiences in 1986 were like, I'll just take that cheeseburger.
Whoa.
They just wolfed it down, but no, very good point. So, okay, so not a lot that we were immediately essentially on the ship. People are waking up from cryo sleep. Take us through it.
Yeah, so, I mean, obviously we have to have a callback to Alien. We have our wake-up scene. We have all the Marines and Ripley waking up from their cryo sleep. Another beautiful, calm type scene as the things elevate and the people step out. We then immediately get into complaining about payment, which we know a lot from Alien. Big complaint among the people that are involved on these ships. They're not getting paid enough. The Marines yell and joke with each other. We get introduced to Apone, who is kind of the field officer, barking orders at everybody.
Immediately puts a cigar in his mouth.
Yeah. One of my favorite scenes or shots in the movie.
Wakes up, looks around, cigar's already... It's like he went to sleep with the cigar in his hand.
He does not light that cigar. This is not a smoked cigar. This is a chewing cigar.
It's a chewing cigar, yeah. Hell yeah. He's ready.
Apone is just chomping on that thing. Ripley is up, walking around. Vasquez, who is a short-haired, just absolutely jacked lady who is a part of this Marine Corps. We're inclusive in future space Marine Corps. Women are involved. They're fighting right alongside the men. She's doing chin-ups.
Right away.
Are any of the men doing chin-ups? I don't think so. She's going over and above. She calls Ripley Snow White. Very funny joke. They have a meal together. Obviously, they have to complain about the quality of the food.
Yeah, wouldn't be
Still
space.
not good.
Didn't get better in 57 years.
No, the chefs did not change when they were making the, pre-made meals that get put on these ships.
We got some fun jokes about potential sexual excursions. Like, I can't wait. We got to go visit the colonists. There's some potential virgin daughters or something. That said, also, Bill Paxton, which you'll talk about him, but he asks Vasquez if anyone's ever mistaken her for a man, and Vasquez, being the smooth woman she is, says, "No. Has anyone ever mistaken you for one?" He's like, "Oh man, that hurt, man. Oh god." And the shaggy-like Marine that is Bill Paxton retreats.
Yeah. So, again, James Cameron just giving us the highlights when it comes to character development. We get Drake, who is a muscly, badass Marine. We've got Bishop, who is initially the crazy guy. He's doing the knife trick.
Do the trick, man!
And we get Hudson, who's Bill Paxton.
Yeah, man.
He's the idiot.
Cowabunga!
But he's also like the tech officer. He's like always doing the stuff with the computers and pulling up the blueprints and stuff. So
yeah,
outwardly a moron, but apparently knows computers well.
Secretly wicked smart.
Yeah. Bishop is also then pointed out to be an android.
Or a synthetic. I love, it's a synthetic. He does the knife thing. We all know, you've seen it, the knives and the fingers, and he cuts himself a little bit and draws a little white blood. Supposedly when they were filming that, the first time they did it perfectly. You can tell it's sped up in the production. But then the second time they did it, and he actually did stab Bill Paxton's hand just a little bit. Fun fact.
Tough for Bill.
Yeah. Oh, man. Why'd you do that, man?
So Ripley is obviously not pleased to have this android aboard the ship. She's got bad PTSD with Ash.
She's like, nobody told me about this.
So Bishop is set up as our new Ash character. Mm-hmm. Is he good? Is he bad? We have to wait to find out.
Yeah.
So after our initiation to the crew, a mission plan has gone over. This is what we're going to do when we get down to the surface. The xenomorph name is talked about as Lieutenant Gorman, who's the head of the Marines. Kind of a nebbish, none of the crew seems to respect this guy at all, but he's the one that's put in charge by the corporation in this military capacity. The xenomorph name, like I said, is dropped, but then Ripley has to explain what the alien is like, even though Hudson, Bill Paxton's character, is like, is this a bug hunt or is this something else? And then she's like, it's a xenomorph. They're like, oh, so it's a bug hunt. It's like, so they either know about xenomorphs or they don't know about xenomorphs, and it's not clear.
Well, I don't know if you caught this, but there's a part where, what is it, not Capone, Apone. He says, there's a disc that you can watch.
Yeah.
So there's like an accompanied CD-ROM that apparently has some information about the xenomorph, maybe what they look like, and so that he does instruct everybody to watch the disc.
Yeah, so Lieutenant Gorman also has to drop the classic military, I want this done smooth and by the numbers, and all the other Marines are like, okay, dude. And then Apone has to step in and actually give orders because they actually respect Apone and not Gorman. The crew prepares for this mission. We're going to get a little bit more, foreshadowing stuff. We see the loader.
The loader, I'll describe it really quick. It's like a big machine suit. A human climbs in. They have huge legs, huge arms, robotic to help lift heavy stuff. You might have seen it in a little movie called Avatar, because they use those things.
The Last Airbender?
No, the blue Navi saga that's gripped the hearts and minds of our entire entire world.
6 more movies coming.
6 more movies, still using papyrus.
Still using papyrus. All right, so it turns out that Ripley has a Class 2 rating when it comes to operating this loader. Gorman and Apone are like, no, you don't. And she gets in and boop, boop, boop. She's like, where do you want this box, guys? And they're like, whoa.
Boing.
We also get some introduction into the weapons that we're going to be seeing utilized on the surface. Vasquez and Drake have these gigantic chain guns. There's an armored transporter truck that then loads up all the Marines onto a transport ship that is then taken down onto the planet's surface, piloted by the aviator-wearing female who, I don't know her name, but her main characterization is that she wears aviator sunglasses.
Yeah, and her helmet says something about the friendly skies. So they're getting down there. We've got a Reebok product placement.
I did catch it. That was awesome.
Yeah, Reebok, baby.
I wear Reeboks myself.
Yeah, Ripley's rocking some Reeboks, and so that's it.
Yeah, I mean, another more character development. Way to go, Jim Cameron. You're doing it. As the transporter ship is going down to the surface, we get some character traits that we can, follow along. Hudson, Bill Paxton, is just giddy with excitement. He's like, let's get down there, boys.
He's like, look at me! Look at my cool shirt! It's got a skull on it! He goes for broke when they are in that ship.
He's really going for it.
He's like, I'm so cool, we don't have to worry about us. He says badass like he's writing female empowerment books.
Ripley seems sick. She's just like, I didn't want to do this in the first place. Here I am. We're going back. We're going to encounter these guys. It's going to be terrible. Lieutenant Gorman, again, the guy that has zero respect from his other Marines, looks terrified. He gets asked basically, how many drops have you done? And he's like, this is 2 if you don't count training. And so, I mean, we're just pushing this guy. He's a stooge.
No.
We're pushing this guy to the side. He doesn't know what he's doing. And our guy Hicks, what is the most badass thing you can do before you go into war?
Fall asleep!
Yeah, dude.
Somebody wake Hicks up!
This guy doesn't give a shit.
I don't know how you could sleep when Bill Paxton is just shouting about how much of a badass he is.
Chris, any other thoughts about getting down to the surface?
No. I mean, I think they're set up some cool things. We see that they're all going to have POV cameras, which they kind of use a little bit for, I guess, what you could even call some real early found footage. Like when they're walking through the ship, they see what's on their individual cameras, and it's creepy. They've got the heart rate monitor, so it's cool gear. And I think, that's something that James Cameron definitely has a plethora of. If we look at his action movies, he's always got cool gear, and this is no exception. Lots of cool stuff that they're going to use, and they go down there. They go down.
There'll be further scenes where they specifically look at some of the guns that they're using, but,
including a very romantic scene about a grenade launcher.
We will get into that. So now on the surface, this place looks abandoned. Storm shutters are shut. Bishop drives the armored truck onto the surface. Marines deploy. It's a now humanized surface. We saw in Aliens just a barren landscape of a planet with the ship. We obviously don't see the alien ship in this version. It just looks like an abandoned town. It's raining. We get some tactical movement. The Marines are working through. We see the motion trackers being used. Another big part of Alien were the cool little Pong-like trackers. These have been updated. Those 57 years doing a lot of work in tracking motion.
Yeah, not a ton.
We also then get our first kind of directorly choice to involve the head cameras that all the Marines are wearing. So we're getting cutbacks to theatrical looking, fully digitized normal movie scenes to the basically cam footage that's coming from the Marines. All right, so the base is abandoned, and as they're going through, we get into the lab, and there's face huggers in the lab in these cylinders where they were being studied. Movement is detected. Shots are fired as a body scurries down this dark hallway. What is going on? Are these the aliens? No, it's a kid, and we have our introduction to Newt.
He uses, and just some real quick notes that, so again, like Alien, the first time that we see something being tracked and the tension is keyed up, the first Alien movie, it's a cat. This time, it's a kid. So great use of the potential fake out scare. And also just got to give it to this movie for, we've already had the fake dream, or the fake chest burster in the dream, and now, we're still like 20 minutes in, and we're already boots on the ground. We're getting in here. We've got some drama. We've got some tension. It's happening. So they get to it quickly in Aliens.
Absolutely. And so Newt, obviously being the lone survivor, it appears, of this colony, they try to get some information out of her. We get Ripley's first, I suppose that she kind of hugs her and chases her into her little lair that she has and gets her to come out, actually. But this is the first real interaction between the two. We immediately see a maternal relationship from Ripley to Newt. She brings her some hot chocolate. Newt just pounds that hot chocolate, and she starts wiping her face off. Very touching moment. But then we get to, where are the other colonists? Obviously, the two smartest people on this mission, Bishop, who is a synthetic android who has tons of knowledge as a result, and Hudson are like, oh yeah, all of the colonists had trackers embedded into them, so we should just be able to pull it up on a computer and we'll see where they all are. They then find that all of them are grouped in one location, basically in the nuclear terraforming power plant that is allowing this planet to be habitable. And they're all in one location. That's weird.
It's probably just they're hanging out, having a meeting.
Absolutely.
Potluck.
So then we get into our first big action sequence. This is, obviously the coming onto the planet, there's some tactical movement, blah, 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 blah. But that was basically just to set up Newt. Now we're getting to where we want to be. What happened to the colonists? We hit it with the first big action sequence. The Marines are going around. They're checking corners. Basically the armored truck is taking them into the nuclear power plant. They get told basically which sub-level. I believe it's sub-level 3. Apone's yelling out tactical movement, check those corners, no bunching up. And then Ripley points out to Lieutenant Gorman, who is on a headset in the truck because, God forbid, he actually does any work at all.
Yeah.
He's just, the guy on the sidelines.
Knees shaking.
Just,
Hands piss-filled.
Apone's actually in there.
He's in there.
Doing some work.
Boots on the ground.
Absolutely. And Ripley points out to them, hey, this is a nuclear power plant.
Can't shoot.
You can't shoot bullets into it or else it's going to rupture the thermonuclear blah, 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 blah. Basically, it's just going to blow up. So Apone then has to tell all of the Marines, can't use bullets. We're just going in flamethrowers blazing. And the Marines are not super happy about that. We then get to sub-level 3. What is happening on sub-level 3?
Yeah, this is the goddamn town meeting, as they said. I gotta point out, something that many people probably know is James Cameron is known for his dialogue, writing his dialogue. Now, how would you describe his dialogue writing, Luke? James Cameron, how does his characters...
He writes dialogue like a 13-year-old boy who has only ever seen the movie Terminator.
He does. And so I'd like to take, moments throughout the podcast to talk about some choice lines. So when they really find out that, okay, here come the potential, we're going to go into the mix, Bill Paxton says, stop your grinning and drop your linen, which is great. So we got that. The halls, when they start to get into, are we there yet? When they're walking through?
Yep.
We see these, I guess it's the Geiger design, but so the aliens, and this is something I don't quite understand, I guess, they do a lot of decorating, and the halls are filled with these weird bones and stuff that previously when we saw these, we were on the alien ship, more or less, so it kind of made sense they had a lot of time, but apparently these aliens can put these alien walls up fairly quickly. They decorate it, and they like their walls wet as hell. They like everything very wet, secreted, wet, and hot. We've also got another great Cameron line. Well, what are we supposed to use? Harsh language? Which I had a chuckle about. Just wet goo. We've got some cocooned people. Let's talk about the people the first time they come across an actual person.
Yes, so the Marines have entered what they will soon find out is a nest. There are bodies stuck all around on the walls. There's alien eggs on the floor. There's a half-alive lady, just like an alien, that is asking to be killed. What comes out of this lady? Chestburster!
You get your first live chestburster, and also you get to use essentially what Ridley Scott already did, because we should remember from the last episode, that whole cocooned person saying, kill me, that Ripley kills. And again, this is in a deleted scene from Alien that didn't make it into the theatrical cut. So they're like, well, that was kind of a cool scene. Let's do it in Aliens. And so James Cameron gets one for free.
Way to go, Jim. So we get a flamethrower that kills the chestburster and the woman all in one go. But this has brought the action to the Marines. Xenomorphs we start seeing coming down from the ceilings, coming from the walls, and there's a full-on onslaught. As flamethrowers are flying around, we see multiple Marines get taken out. Apone is down. Lieutenant Gorman is yelling instructions from the truck. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's trying to get contact with these guys. They don't know what's going on. This is the first big interaction between the Marines and the Xenomorphs, and it's a disaster.
Yeah, it's intense. There's lots of action going on. It's very steamy. Foggy, which helps again. I mean, we're in 1986. The aliens do look better, but also it's nice to hide them a little bit. And we do get them hidden a little bit in the fog, which is nice. And yeah, this is chaos. Of course, Ripley kind of takes over in the truck and takes over business over Gorman.
Yeah, Ripley has to come save the day. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ripley takes control. Gorman, obviously out of his element.
No.
She drives the truck. She smashes through a wall. I don't know how she went down 3 sublevels, but
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Marines are retreating. They retreat back to armored vehicle. They're piling back in. We've got Drake still firing at aliens. We've got Vasquez firing at aliens. They're the 2 badasses that are doing it. And Drake gets taken down. Vasquez is able to get on. Hicks is able to get on. And as the door is closing, Xenomorph pops in.
They can use they know how doors work now.
They do know how doors work. Also, the Marines have given up the not firing bullets into the nuclear bomb that they're inside of.
Vasquez just can't wait.
Yeah, she gives up on that very easily. Hicks shoots the alien, but acid blood, remember?
Yeah, I think they do a good job in this movie.
Drake essentially dies from acid blood.
Yeah.
He does get kind of taken down, but basically is dying because he killed the thing in front of him and acid blood jumps on him. So we're back to more alien lore.
Yeah, and I will say that they do a good job of accounting for the acid blood. There are a number of acid blood fatalities or almost fatalities. And, you know, I think you got to give it up. I was watching part of this with my 15-year-old son, and we both said, acid blood is cool. And I said, I said to him, they have acid for blood. Isn't that cool? And he said, oh, yeah, very cool. Acid blood is cool. We all know it, and they're accounting for it as a great, as something that can cause a lot of damage.
All right, so Ripley gets everyone into the truck. I'll go through our list of survivors in a moment, but they escape. They call a transport vehicle to come pick up or a transport ship to come pick up the armored truck, get them back to their safe base that they have on the planet. Our survivors are Newt, Hudson, Hicks, Ripley, Vasquez, Burke, Gorman. If I didn't say your name, you didn't survive. Shout out Apone. Shout out Frost. Staying Frosty.
Oh, rest in power, King.
Which are the only 2 black characters in this movie.
Not a good look, Jim. Not a good look.
Ridley Scott kept the black character in Alien until just about the end.
Yeah. He
James Cameron, get rid of him.
Yeah, it just we don't have to say it, but not
It's
a
true.
good look. And we also get the famous as soon as they get off the ship and they're reeling, we get the game over, man, which is classic. Everyone knows that. It's been quoted, and it's Paxton being Paxton.
So Ripley is in full, we gotta just erase this place off the map. She proposes the idea of flying away from the planet, nuking the entire thing, and who comes to the defense of the planet but our good friend Burke, who is like, whoa,
Hey.
maybe we don't exterminate all the xenomorphs.
It's a very important species.
So what's going on with Burke? We don't completely know yet, but turns out this is a military operation. Corporation is not in charge here, so our next military person in line, Lieutenant Gorman, has been knocked out. He's not available for comment. Hicks, who has been the most side character of side characters, all of a sudden jumps in. He is the next in line to be in charge of the Marines. He agrees with Ripley's plan. Does he agree with Ripley's plan because he thinks it's a good plan, or because he might be getting to be falling in love with Ripley?
I think he wakes up from that nap and he's immediately drawn to her. He's like, yeah, what she said. So, we'll get more into the very poorly done romantic arc that is Ripley and Hicks. But
transport ship is coming. They're stranded in the truck, basically in the middle between the plant and the base that they're trying to get back to. Ship is flying to get them. I did happen to write down the character names. It's Pharaoh. She is the aviator-wearing pilot. And then my guy Spunkmeyer.
I wrote that down too.
Who finds some goo.
He finds spunk.
He finds some spunk. on the transport ship. What does this mean?
What the hell is this? I thought I cleaned that up, Spunkmeyer.
Xenomorph on board the transport ship, takes Pharaoh down, bloody scene. Spunkmeyer also gone down in the transport ship. Their hope of being able to fly back to their base is gone. They have to get back on foot.
Aliens love getting on ships.
They do. They love sneaking onto ships.
They're so good. They are so good at
They're
sneaking
these
on ships.
gigantic 8-foot black beasts. And
Hold on. I think I can crouch under the seat here. She's never gonna know. They love hide and seek. They're just amazing at it. So their ship is their way home. Their way into the orbit to nuke the thing is gone, and they're trapped. They're trapped on LV-426. How long?
Oh, so we'll get to that, but back on base, they have to go over first what weapons they have left. They talk about grenade launchers. They talk about how many bullets are left in the guns. All that nonsense. And then Hicks is basically asked, like, how long would it be if we sent out a beacon that basically said we're in trouble? And he's like, 17 days. And Hudson is like, yeah, this is not going to happen, dude.
We're not going to make it 17 days, man.
Absolutely. We then get to Hudson, who Ripley is asked to pull up basically blueprints for the base that they're in so they can set up some sort of defense to try and last as long as they possibly can. There is another Newt and Ripley mother-daughter scene, whatever. A queen that lays eggs is alluded to in this scene. Obviously, we'll see later on if that comes to fruition. And Burke is again making pitches that these specimens are going to be worth millions of dollars. He's going into full, we're not here to just exterminate the aliens mode.
He's an evil guy.
And then we find out the full confirmation of that in that Burke
What does he do?
was the guy that told the colonists on LV-426, hey, you know that alien ship you're asking about? Go check it out.
What a piece of shit! Oh my god, he did it, and he brought all that hell on to all those poor colonists.
But they don't, even after this reveal, they don't really do anything to Burke yet. So they're still working out how they're gonna, basically there's a second transport ship above the one that's currently in orbit. Bishop is like, I can remote pilot that thing down. So Bishop is then basically sent off on the mission to remote pilot the new transport ship down so they can get back up into orbit, then nuke the planet.
Gotta crawl down, he has to crawl through a very thin pipe.
Then we get to Chris's favorite scene in the entire movie, which is Hicks explaining to Ripley how to shoot an A-41.
Oh, yeah. She says, I think... And this is funny, too, because a little behind the scenes, Sigourney Weaver hates guns. She hates guns. This will come up in later podcasts, later movies, but she actually had a huge problem with it. She said, I don't like the guns. And then she got convinced. I don't know how they convinced her. I'm sure that's written somewhere. But so now there's a romantic scene where Hicks is like, let me show you around this gun. And she's like, ooh, yeah. And then she's like, there's a grenade launcher. And I don't think we need to worry about that. She says, I think I can handle myself. He says, I've noticed. And so the romance is flying high, and they're bonding over this gun. Everything is getting very, very hot.
And from that hotness, we'll immediately go to another mother-daughter scene between Ripley and Newt, just really throwing ice water onto all that steamy love action. And Ripley finds Newt, who is, trying to get some rest in the lab where the facehuggers are being studied. They're in glass cylinders, we think. Mm. And Ripley and Newt fall asleep underneath the table. Also, Lieutenant Gorman is back in action after his serious head injury. Bishop is patching into the ship and remote controlling it down to the surface. He has now made his way Andy Dufresne style through the tunnel, basically the tube thing to get out there.
Yeah.
Ripley notices that while Newt and her were under the table, the facehuggers have gotten out of the glass cylinders.
Yeah.
Facehugger attacks. Newt and Ripley are trapped in the lab. Burke sees them in danger over the camera and shuts that bad boy off.
He turns the other way! He's a monster! Also, why didn't they wake up when the thing fell over?
I have no idea. This entire scene doesn't make a lick of sense. Ripley first tries to break through the window of the lab because they're locked in there with a chair, unsuccessfully.
Yeah.
And then is like, oh, if I light this lighter that's in my pocket, then a fire alarm will go off, and then everyone will know that we're in here.
Should try that first. But it's okay, because the face huggers, while they are very deadly to most, it seems like they can just kind of fend them off.
Yeah, I mean, you know, their tail may wrap around Ripley's neck, but that can just be easily pulled off. Bill Pullman shooting the other one out of the air. No big deal at all. And they end up figuring this out. But it turns out that the reason why the facehuggers were out of their cylinders, Burke again.
Goddamn Burke. Paul Reiser, he's mad about those aliens.
So Burke's big idea, since Ripley over and over again has been like, we're exterminating these guys, we're getting the xenomorphs off the planet, we're going to nuke this bad boy. Burke is like, if I take the two most pitiable people on this crew,
The women.
Ripley and Newt. Hey, Vasquez is still there.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever been mistaken for a man before, Vasquez?
No, have you?
Oh.
Yeah.
So,
She's masculine.
jizz. So Burke is like, if Ripley and Newt get impregnated by the facehugger with the xenomorph, the chest burster, and then go into cryo sleep, I'll be able to slip them through detection, and then we have an alien specimen upon returning home. We still nuke the planet. Ripley thinks, or, you know, all the other crew think that, you know, Ripley and Newt are, you know, whatever. We fixed them, no big deal. We nuked the planet, all good. Burke, you bad guy. It's a bad plan. Foiled.
Yeah, no, he's it's interesting. So did you buy Paul Reiser as a villain? He's kind of a little timid of a person.
He is, but I mean, this is the whole, and like you said, we're going to get into this in other movies. He's the corporate kind of character. He's the guy that's coming from this big bad corporation, and so his turn into basically the bad guy is kind of obvious.
Yeah, and one more question before we keep going. I had to ask this. So this is the second movie where we've talked about the aliens being weaponized. Can you tell me, how do you think they would weaponize the xenomorph? U.S. Army gets a xenomorph. What are they doing with it?
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah, I've thought about this. I mean, obviously we threw the xenomorphs into Saudi Arabia, and what? They killed everybody, but then they're full of xenomorphs. That's a problem.
Yeah, it's
So the perfect organism, you can't kill them unless you blow them out of a spaceship.
yeah. Who knows?
Okay, just wanted to put that out there.
It's just one of those things that you just throw into the movie and you're like, oh, obviously the big bad corporation is going to figure out some way and we'll get millions of dollars and be rich when we give it to them, but what have we done to humanity as a result?
Yeah, an allegory for power and all that good stuff. So anyways, just a little side philosophical tangent there. So they figured Burke out. What happened? Is he on blast? What's going to happen to this guy?
So, luckily for Burke, we get into the second big action scene in this movie, which is they see coming into the building this host of moving dots on their motion detectors. Hudson's going crazy. He's like, they're so many feet away. Ah! And they have no idea where they're coming from. They've done a pretty good job of like sealing doors and stuff like that. Turns out xenomorphs crawling on the ceiling, finding their way into this place, just like they did when the colonists were there. They're, you know, blasting in. Now we get full-on battle sequence. We're fighting. Characters are running away. Burke is closing doors on people, trying to get them killed and himself to get out of the way. Hudson's killed. Burke's face is eaten off. And Bishop is over the radio giving us an update on how much time is left as this onslaught is going. They're 16 minutes away.
Bishop's like, hey guys, how's it going? Everything good? Oh, not so much.
Yeah, we get the lesser version of the shaft scene from Alien, which was my favorite scene of the movie, where characters, so Vasquez, Gorman, Ripley, Hicks, are all going through these tunnels, being chased by aliens. Vasquez and Gorman are hit with some acid blood. They're both crippled. Gorman comes back, saves Vasquez a little bit. Gorman and Vasquez end up blowing themselves up to save Hicks, Newt, and Ripley. Newt falls into a shaft, which is then filled with water. They have to cut Newt out of the floor. Xenomorph appears in the water next to Newt, grabs her. Hicks is hit with acid blood, and Bishop is still trying to bring the transporter down. This all happens within 10 to 15 minutes. It is a pretty great action scene.
Oh, pretty great. Sounds like you might like that.
It is progressive. It moves forward. It's got great pacing. There's some good, cheesy action lines that are a part of it. Vasquez and Gorman get their last laughs at each other. Ripley and Hicks are being brought together more as, this kind of duo. They've done away with a little bit of the lovey-dovey stuff, but it's very much like, we're Mama and Papa, and we're taking care of Newt, and they're trying to get her out. Newt obviously then gets into danger because she's the main driving force of the plot of this entire movie, and we get her being taken away, which is the most important thing that happens in the last 40 minutes of this movie.
It's true that does take a long time, the whole hunt for Newt. A couple things. So Burke, I think, the sad thing here is such a horrible character, and we don't get a satisfying death. It's just one of those things where the alien's gonna stick its second head into him and they cut away. It's kind of like, okay, well, we would have liked to see a little, can we get a little something more for Burke, but that's okay. Newt scared in the water is a classic shot. The alien coming up behind her, I think, is one of the most iconic shots in the franchise. Looks great. I just need to call that out.
It turned out that so Newt was, as she was a child actor, sometimes there's traumatic stories about the behind the scenes with these children that are in an adult world, working world.
Yeah.
Apparently they were just as sweet as could be to her. All the xenomorph people that are in the xenomorph costumes would chat with her before, be friendly, and she would be like, oh, these are my friends. So when they popped on, she was just acting that she was scared. She wasn't actually terrified. The water that she's in was kept at a perfect temperature to be in, even though she has to act like it's chilly and all that sort of stuff. So the actress that played Newt, she had a good time on set, even though she is the driving force of the plot of this movie because of how traumatized she is the entire time.
Good acting for Newt. Shout out to the child labor laws and the environment being put forth by James Cameron and the gang. I mean, yeah, that was... I'd love to see the actors in the alien suits kind of playing around with her being cute, and then just maybe hopefully they did it with the head on. I don't know, with that big phallic head on.
Geiger! So, I have said multiple times now, the last 20 minutes of Alien, the action part of it, so when it kind of moves away from horror to action, don't like it as much. I've also said, not a humongous fan of the action, except for here and there in Aliens. But, Chris, these last 26 minutes, as Bishop instructs us, are the key to this entire movie. This is where most of the iconic stuff occurs, and we are just about to get into it. Do you agree with me that this movie is largely remembered for these last 20 to 30 minutes?
I do. I think so we didn't Did Bill Paxton die yet?
He's dead.
Yeah.
He dies again uneventfully. A lot of the Marine deaths, a lot of even the characters that are named and have, good lines and stuff, die pretty uneventfully. Unlike Alien, which basically every character, you remember the death, you remember how they die.
Yeah.
These kinds of guys are Marines. They're just kind of cut down in the crossfire.
Yeah. So I think Bill Paxton's character is memorable. People know the Game Over Man and all that stuff and the knife scene. But yeah, otherwise, a lot of it is the last. I think it's almost like the movie has like 3 endings. Until it's ending, things are gonna be maybe gonna be okay, but then, well, I don't know about that. It has at least 2 endings. But yeah, that's where all the iconic stuff comes from for sure, outside of Bill Paxton. So let's get into the big finale.
All right. So again, Bishop has gotten the transporter ship remoted down to the planet. They're ready to go. But as we had mentioned before, Newt has been taken by a xenomorph. We don't necessarily know where yet, but we will because of something that we forgot to mention during the love scene. I mean, not an actual love scene, but the lovey-dovey scene between Hicks and Ripley.
Exploring the gun.
Hicks, in a wonderful gesture of romance and affection, gives her a tracking watch, basically.
There's nothing more romantic than a man giving his
So
romantic
that he-
interest something
so that
to
he can
track her.
keep an eye on her at all times.
Oh my god, so hot.
So Ripley, just filled with affection for this man for giving her this tracking device, is like, yeah, let's give it to the kid. So Newt, turns out, has a tracking device. This is how we know where Newt is. She has been taken back to the nest area that we were in the first action scene. So she is back in the nuclear power plant that is helping to terraform this planet. Bishop informs Ripley 26 minutes until that thing is about to blow, because they're not even going to have to nuke this planet. It's going to nuke itself because stuff has gone wrong in the power plant, basically.
So we get to the ending of this movie is a lot like the ending of the first. It's just the whole bigger, badder concept.
Yeah, and just like an Alien where, the voiceover from Mother is giving a countdown, Bishop is giving us a countdown for the end of this movie.
Well, and there's literally a voice that's like 14 minutes to get to a desirable spot. So again, you're Ripley, you're like, this again? Man, how many times have you been on a self-destructing ship trying to fight aliens? Because I've got 2 in the last few weeks of my life. But yeah, she's got to find Newt. And of course, that brings us to a pretty iconic part, or the introduction of an iconic character.
Yep, so Ripley is going back onto the planet to rescue Newt. She travels down to the nest because she's obviously following the tracker. Newt is stuck onto the wall with goo, but other than that, isn't hurt.
She's fine.
Yeah, she's actually doing just fine.
It's just super easy to get the goo away, too. She's like, oh, this isn't that bad.
Facehugger comes out of an egg that's in the nest. Oh no, we get Ripley against Facehugger again. Ripley hears Newt scream. She turns around, she blows the Facehugger away and an oncoming xenomorph. Ripley grabs Newt, runs, finds herself with more eggs around. Where are all these eggs coming from? We see the Queen, who is laying eggs out of this gross
giant
attachment to her. And, yeah, it's terrible. There's a stare down between Ripley and the Queen. Ripley then burns all the eggs in front of the Queen. She then shoots all these xenomorphs that are coming after her and grenades the egg sac that the Queen has attached to her. Newt and Ripley escape the nest, but the Queen unattaches from her grenaded egg sac and is on the chase.
She unmounts from the egg sac. There is a point when the egg sac is blown open where it literally looks like there's some yolk in there. Kind of gross. But yeah, I mean, you introduce this bigger alien. So again, they're upping the stakes. You have the iconic shot of Ripley holding Newt. I think that is the cover with the gun in the air. You got some great visuals there. And Ripley, I mean, let's be honest, she looks great hunting aliens.
She does.
Yeah,
Yeah, she gets a little dirt on her face.
Yeah, it's
a little
great.
sweat.
It's so good. And so she gets him out, and that's and then the other aliens, they see that they're smart enough to know, she could kill all these eggs, and she could kill the queen, so they kind of back up, and then she goes up the elevator, and
Whoa. So, she does go up the elevator
yeah.
because Ripley and Newt need to connect back with Bishop to get on the transport ship. So I have a question about this. That's why I stopped you. Ripley and Newt obviously know how to use elevators.
Yeah.
They go up. You would think that this queen xenomorph would have no idea how to use an elevator. You would think they would have foiled her, and she would just be sitting down at that level and would be stuck there and just looking at the sky like, where did this magic box take them?
Ah!
Turns out the queen knows how to use an elevator.
I wish there was a deleted scene where the alien just gets in, and then there's even the point where the alien's just waiting as they're like looking at the floors,
listening to elevator music.
1, 2, 3.
Just tapping her toe.
Oh, okay, come on. I gotta get to kill these people already. God, so pissed about those eggs.
So, boom. She learns how to use an elevator. There's 2 minutes remaining until the explosion. Bishop isn't there with the ship. Ripley's run out of bullets. There's explosions all around. All of a sudden, Bishop appears on the ship with the ship. Newt is loaded on. Ripley is loaded on. Transport ship escapes.
Victorious.
Planet explodes. Movie over.
Great, they did it. Surely they won't do exactly what they did in the first movie, right?
No way.
No, they get out of the ship.
Do they get safely to the ship that is in orbit, which is called the Sulaco?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously everything's good to go. Bishop, it turns out, he's a good android.
He is.
He's trying to help him out.
He's not allowed to do harm to humans. He's the newer AK model. He's synthetic, but he's not stupid.
So Bishop just, in the nicest way, is helping these guys off the ship. Him and Ripley are having a moment together, and boom! He is stuck through the chest. The Queen has made it aboard with the transport ship. She has ripped Bishop in half. This is gnarly, dude.
It's a cool scene.
It's pretty great.
White guts everywhere.
Yeah. And now we've got to figure out how to get this queen off of the ship that is going to be, in effect, taking them back home.
So again, the alien queen goes with the trends of her earlier offspring and is incredibly good at hiding.
Yeah.
So like, how did that all happen?
Jumping onto ships as they go as fast as they can
What the
away
hell?
from a planet that is exploding.
Yeah, like just that whole it's crawled in somewhere and everything's fine. Super crazy. But then yes, the queen has snuck on the ship, snuck out, and it's time to fight.
So we get the fight we've been waiting for since the queen has been introduced, since there was a stare down. With Ripley holding Newt, looking at the queen, we finally get some hand to loader fight. It is Ripley versus the queen. Ripley, just like an alien, hides into a room, basically shuts the door and jumps into a suit. An alien, it's a space suit, so that she can open up space and shoot the alien out. And this, she's getting into the loader so that she can use the yellow claws to fully combat the queen alien, hand-to-hand combat. We get the iconic line, "Get away from her, you bitch!" And there is a battle, back and forth, back and forth. Oh, is there an airlock I see in the distance?
Did we know about that?
She hits the alien down into the airlock, opens the airlock up. Everything's trying to shoot out into space. Alien goes out into space. Alien Queen is gone. Ripley is climbing up. Newt is flying across the floor towards space. The half dismembered body of Bishop grabs Newt. He has saved Newt.
Even as
Ripley
half a
comes
man.
aboard. She closes the airlock. Bishop and Newt are there with his torsoed body. Ripley's like, "You did it, Mr. Android."
You did it, you synthetic bastard. I love you.
And that is our big conclusion. Again, this is what sells the movie for you. If you love aliens, this is the part that you're going to talk about.
So Hicks is still alive. Hicks is
right.
He's beat up a little bit, but they're like, you know what? It's all going to be good. We're going to get into these cryo sleep chambers. Everything is all the bad stuff has gone away. The last shot of the film is Newt and Ripley in hypersleep together. Maternal bond is there, and everything is done. And it's kind of a muted, nice ending, I guess.
But it's very similar to Alien.
100%. It's the exact same as far as I think in Alien. It's her and the cat. Now it's her and Newt. So she's upgraded, and that's Aliens.
And obviously, because I've not seen any of the movies after this, they have I would assume, a safe trip back to where they came from, and her and Newt live a happy life together.
100%.
New daughter.
My gosh, the memories that will be made. They'll look back at this one day and laugh.
They're definitely not going to get intercepted at any point and taken to a prison planet.
No!
That's not going to happen.
See, Luke got this spoiled because he listened to something. So, but you don't know anything else about Alien 3.
No, that is the only thing that I know about Alien 3, which we will be talking about next. All right, Chris. As we wrap up the movie here, we are going to get into our awards, just like we did for Alien. We are going to be giving away 3 different awards. We're going to be giving away an award for our best scene, what we think is the best scene, a scene-stealing performance, so who we think kind of wins the movie from that aspect, and then our overall MVP of the movie. It can be anyone involved, the crew, the title card, whatever. What is the most important part of this movie? Chris, hit me with your best scene.
Okay, hold on here. Okay, so this is easy for me, and again, I've gone with some chalk answers, but I have to be true to myself. It's the end scene. It's the Ripley loader against the Queen alien. This is a really awesome scene. It's so revered in movie history. You can buy Ripley in the loader suit Christmas ornaments. It's great, and it's one of the most memorable parts of the entire franchise. That's what it's gonna be for me.
Get away from her, you bitch!
I agree with you. I'll give a runner-up. That's basically the scene before Newt gets disappeared by the xenomorph in the water. I really like that chase sequence where they're going through the tunnels. Burke's closing the doors. You're rooting for Burke to die. The Vasquez, Gorman blowing themselves up to save Hicks and Ripley and Newt and all that sort of stuff. Really good action right before we basically get into that last push to, the best scene in the movie, which is the ending scene.
Fair.
Scene-stealing performance. Is Bill Pullman your scene-stealing performer?
Paxton.
Oh, Bill Pullman.
Independence Day.
Paxton.
Okay, so is he? You're asking me. No. Now, I like Bill Paxton for his comic relief. Sigourney Weaver, she's great. We all know it, but I gotta do something a little different here. So, I know he's not in it all that much, but Al Matthews, Sergeant Apone, I love him. Every time he's on the screen, he's amazing. Like, he's commanding. He sells. Like, I could watch a 2-hour movie with him being the lead character. I just think he's great, and so that's my scene-stealing performance.
All right, sweethearts, what are you waiting for? Breakfast in bed? Another glorious day in the Corps. Day in the Marine Corps is like a day on the farm. Every meal's a banquet. Every paycheck a fortune. Every formation a parade. I love the Corps.
Great. just like last movie where I gave my scene-stealing performance to Ash, I hate humans. Lance Henriksen, Bishop, I really love this character. He's not utilized in the best way. I wish he was more of a Ash-type character where he's way more involved with the plot. He kind of gets put out to pasture when he's trying to remote down the transporter. I think every scene that he's in, he's very good. He ends up being sort of the quasi-side hero at the end when he saves Newt from falling out into space. I really like the Bishop character. I'm hoping to see him moving forward in the franchise. He's going to be a guy that anytime he shows up in any of these movies, if he does again, I'm going to be excited to see. I love Bishop.
I prefer the term artificial person myself.
Before we started this podcast series, I was at a comic book store and found some old toys from the 80s, and I got one that actually came out during the run of the Aliens movie, and it's a Bishop character, Space Marine Bishop android, although it looks nothing like Lance Henriksen, and the character has a huge machine gun. So, just going to show that the toys have nothing to do with the R-rated movie. Okay, so we've got our scene-stealing performance. We've got our
Best scene.
best scene. All right, what's next?
MVP. What makes this movie work, Chris?
You're going to hate this answer, but I'm going to say it's James Cameron. Now, you know, because
Unbelievable.
it is what it is. Like, this propelled the Alien franchise forward. Alien is a singular work. It didn't need a sequel. It could have just been that. And it would have been great. And we wouldn't have talked about, we would talk about it as a great film. It didn't need a sequel. James Cameron took the filet mignon and made it into a mass-produced cheeseburger. And it's not as good. It's not. But it's something that propelled the franchise. It's the reason that we have this whole franchise to talk about, most likely. The public loved it. It was not deep and artistically great, but it was something that the public just loved. And it furthered the franchise. So I'm not a huge James Cameron fan. I'm fine. I'm kind of middle of the road. I know his weaknesses. Did I see Titanic multiple times in the theater when I was a boy? I did. So I can't say I hate him. And I think that what he did, it just worked here for what the movie is supposed to be. And again, I'm looking at it for what it did for the entire franchise, a franchise that I love.
There was one director of the Alien franchise movies that got begged back to create another Alien movie. That director was Ridley Scott, not James Cameron.
Correct. And I think the Ridley Scott movies are better. All of them. We'll talk about that. But he's the artistic guy. At least compared to James Cameron. Again, I'm just saying that's what made this work for what it was.
Great.
Sorry.
What makes this work is Sigourney Weaver.
Love Sigourney's.
You gave her the MVP for Alien. I went a different direction. I could have obviously given it to her in that movie. I do think from an acting perspective, she's better in Alien. She has a little bit more subtle work to do. In this, she's obviously just going full action queen. Yas. And I think she's just so commanding. Like you said, that shot with her with the queen holding Newt, it's iconic. It looks great. She gets into the loader. She's going hand to hand with them. She makes this movie good. She's the person you remember.
Yes.
I don't remember a darn thing about Hicks, Hudson, other than that they're idiots and one tried to, basically attach himself to Ripley for the rest of the time with a tracker. I could have maybe gone out of the box and said that Newt, just because the child actor wasn't bad, but I don't want to just credit basically being okay. I'll give my credit to the person that was nominated for Best Lead Actress, Sigourney Weaver. Ellen Ripley, you are iconic. I didn't give it to you for Alien. I'll give it to you for Aliens. You are the only reason this movie works.
I don't disagree with you at all. She's wonderful. I would have. So I chose her as the scene-stealing performance of Alien. I went to H.R. Geiger for my MVP last time. That's
Geiger!
Okay. You gotta. But I could have gone right back to Sigourney Weaver. It's obvious to me that she is great. And also, I really just wanted to get under your skin and say something positive about James Cameron. So,
well, you succeeded.
Excellent.
Can't wait for Avatar 8.
The Way of Sand. The Way of Dirt.
All right, Chris, let's go have sex with our tails. Let's get to... We kind of gave our overall, now that we've gone through the movie, Aliens, what does it do for you?
All right, so funny that we were talking, that last scene, before the last scene happened, I was a little underwhelmed. I was good. It was a good movie, but I had it at an 8.1. And I was like, you know what? Then that's where this is. It's still good, but it's not. It's not great. Then the last scene happened, and I was noting, they don't always make the aliens look great. Of course, in the 1979 original, they had to work around that a lot. The Queen alien looks pretty good for 1986. Looks decent. It wasn't like, oh, they're just hiding something and they're using smoke and mirrors. Of course, that the Ripley in the loader suit fight with the Queen alien is so cool, iconic, for sure. And so I brought it up to an 8.6.
Wow,
is where
8.6.
8.6. What about you? Where's it at? Gonna bring this down, sully the name of.
I won't give my rating immediately. I would like to speak through this movie very quickly.
Let's go for it.
So I watched this 2 times in preparation for this podcast. My first watch of the movie Aliens. The first 20 or so minutes, I was in. I was like, all right, this is doing a pretty good job. Kind of weird that, they just basically go like, hey, the planet's populated now. Oh, they're not contacting us. So just, huge leaps within the script. I'm like, oh, there's Bill Paxton. That's cool. He's, being a weird guy and all that sort of stuff. At about, where we get to the nest the first time, from basically the end of that scene to basically when we see the Queen. The first time I watched this movie, I will fully admit, I started doing anything else but watching the movie.
No, you were on your phone!
It was just in the background. I was making popcorn. I was making a meal. I was just so checked out, gone. I wanted to text you so bad and be like, I can't even pay attention to this movie. The middle of this movie is so bad in my opinion. I then was like, you gotta sit down and watch it through again.
Yeah.
So I watched it the second time. I did come to appreciate it. Just focused. Just watch it as the action movie it is. Because the first time I watched it, I'm like, I love Alien.
Expecting something like that.
All of a sudden, I get hit with, this is Terminator, or, Terminator 2, basically, in space with the Xenomorphs. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, this is not the movie I want.
No.
Got it out of my system. I watched it a second time. I enjoyed it the second time as the movie that it's supposed to be. This movie is a good action movie. It is a probably top tier James Cameron movie, but it falls very short of Alien from my rating perspective. Mm-hmm. This is gonna be 6.8.
No, game over, man! Oh my god, 6.8.
This is, it's
harsh.
So, I love the movie Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That movie is not a good movie, but it's a fun action romp or whatever. Schwarzenegger doing his thing, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
This is a better version of Commando, obviously with way different, plot and everything. But if I want to sit down and watch an action movie, I'd probably think Commando is more fun than Aliens. Aliens is obviously better made and all that sort of stuff. But because, see, we're just running into the issue where I love Aliens so much, and James Cameron changed so many things in Aliens, even though he's using a lot of like callbacks and stuff like that. The style, the feel of the movie, the action as opposed to the horror, I just don't like it as much. So I'm never going to rate this one high because of the fact that it is supposed to be the sequel to Alien, and it is. It's just different.
Different it is. I mean, hey, I respect that. It's
6.8. I rated Alien 9.4.
All right, big difference. Again, I'm very excited / worried to see what you're gonna think of what we've got coming up. Of course, Alien to the Third Power, or Alien 3, came out in 1992. We'll talk about that next episode. I want to start a little mini feature here where I recap what I think I think about a movie before I rewatch it. Now, anything else before we do that? Any last thoughts on Aliens? I mean, I think for me, you know, I've talked about I've said my piece. I like it. You've said your piece.
I've got one more big one.
One more big one.
And I can't believe I waited this long to say this, because this is going to hurt you.
Shit.
Very much.
Oh my God.
I don't like Bill Paxton in this movie.
That's okay. I like, he's funny-ish, but I actually have a note earlier on that says, is Bill Paxton good?
Bill Paxton is not good in this movie. He is good in other movies. He is bad in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It's a really stupid character that is used as the comic relief, and which also, I mean, ultimately you could say takes away from or messes with the tone. Although I think, I mean, the tone of Aliens it's not as serious. I mean, it's not.
It's not even close.
So, and that's mainly done by Bill Paxton. I mean, you've got the kind of the cute maternal relationship thing that they bring in, the forced romantic thing that's really half-baked, but then you've got Crazy Hudson. So, no, I mean, I get that. He's a fun character for me, and I think if he wasn't in it, the first an hour in the middle of the movie would just be really boring, because you wouldn't at least have like, oh yeah, look, is that Bill Paxton? He's being crazy, like a crazy surfer dude. It's entertaining. I don't know that it's like, I wouldn't like want to write a college paper about why Hudson's performance was like, he's not good.
So if you remove Hudson from this movie, if you remove Newt from this movie, and keep the same plot, like, it can still be that they weren't getting any indication that the settlers were doing well on this LV-426. Ripley has to go back with Marines and all that sort of stuff. They don't find a child. All the same action occurs. It's just as good of a movie. But because James Cameron is like so into this 80s mode that you gotta throw all these extra things in there, like, it just, in hindsight, takes away from the enjoyment of the movie. You're just like telephoning basically what's gonna happen the entire, like, obviously the kid's not gonna die. Obviously Ripley is not gonna die.
No one would kill the kid, of course.
Obviously Bill Paxton's gonna die. He's an idiot.
Yeah, I love that. Let's keep those thoughts in mind going forward.
I also can't wait to just anger every Alien franchise fan and rate movies that are coming up higher than Aliens.
Ooh, well, hey, you do it. We're controversial here.
I guess so. I think it's going to discredit us in a lot of ways.
It's fine.
So listen to Chris, don't listen to me.
We have no credit.
I hate James Cameron. It's a me problem. It's not a you guys problem.
You're not alone. You're not alone in
true.
your hate for James Cameron. There is a solution. There are people out there that can help.
There is a big solution, and that is my guy, David Fincher, director of Alien 3. Will David Fincher pull off the James Cameron, basically a follow-up?
Yeah. So real quick, I want to throw in my thoughts on Alien 3. Alien 3, of course we'll talk a lot about it. It's my favorite movie to read about. It's my favorite movie to like the story, which we'll have to spend some time on it. The story behind the movie to me is actually much better than the movie itself, or at least it's much more entertaining. At least that's how I remember it. I was born in 1984. This came out in 1992. This was the first time that I was remember seeing the marketing, seeing commercials and trailers for Alien 3. This was the first time it had a real-time effect on me. So therefore, it was more important. I remember this. This was a big deal when it came out, and I was instantly, into the, whatever. I liked it. I liked the aesthetic. I liked the idea. I've seen it a few times in the interim, and I'm going to say, I'm going to give my placeholder ranking as I'll just go 7.0. Now, that's generous. That's generous. I think, again, we won't talk...
If I agree with you, that'll be higher than my Aliens rating.
Yeah, it could be. We might get crazy. That's okay. That's what I think right now. I'm excited to actually watch it again. There are 2 versions of this movie. We'll talk all about that next week. But until then, you guys stay away from face huggers and Paul Reiser, and stay away from anybody with a popped collar that's gaslighting you into thinking that aliens are not that bad.
Franchise Addicts will be back next time with Alien 3.
See ya!
It's game over, man. It's game over.